So my name is Megan and I work at UEA as a higher education advisor, and I'll be delivering the webinar today, probably around 20 to 30 minutes or so. And I'm also joined by my colleague Jess, who will be helping answer any questions that come in during the chat. We'll outline the types of things that we are looking for in an application. We'll go over the UCAS process as a whole and kind of what to expect over the next year or so in applying to university during these kind of uncertain times. So just a little bit about us. We are both based at the University of East Anglia, so that's the kind of green glint on your screen in the east side of England. We are a campus university and we are based just on the outskirts of Norwich. We're a UK top 25 university and we're also a gold standard university for our teaching. This is our campus at UEA, so we're really lucky that we've got a fantastic campus for our students. As I said, it's just located on the outskirts of the city of Norwich, so we do have the best of both worlds. Our campus looks quite big on this picture, but you can kind of walk from one end to the other in about 15 minutes. So everything is all in one place. We have halls of residence, so we have university accommodation. We have a sports centre, we have a library, it's 24 hours, we have a medical centre, shops, we've got a nightclub, we've got, what else? We've got all sorts. We've got cafes, we've got a bank, we've got a museum on our campus too, as well as obviously all of the teaching buildings and facilities. So essentially it's like a mini village, but everything's all in one place for our students. So you don't often have to leave campus unless you obviously want to go and explore Norwich. In terms of what the next year will kind of look like for most of you, hopefully most of you are looking at applying for 2022 entry. So perhaps you might be at sixth form or college at the moment, or perhaps you're just looking at applying to university. There's a few months now where you can kind of build up your university research, so kind of make the most of the next few months to ensure that you're making the right decision for you. But also there's lots you can be doing to start to build up your experience so that you have got lots of fantastic things to put into your application to university. Come kind of September time is when you'll make a really good start on your personal statements. This is part of your application, which I'll talk about later on. And there's a couple of deadlines as well, which I'll talk about later on, which happen in kind of next year, so the end of this year. Now, there's lots of choices out there for you. So some of you might have already decided perhaps what you'd like to study at university. And for those of you that haven't, don't worry, there is lots of choice. So perhaps you've been on the UCAS website already and had a look at all of the different courses out there. There is over 35,000, so going to university, this number might be quite scary, but it also might be quite a nice number because going to university allows you to kind of shape a degree to your interests and your passions, and it also allows you to kind of combine subjects which you may not have the opportunity to study at sixth form or college. So perhaps you're looking at a course such as actuarial science that you've never studied before, or perhaps you're looking at a course such as liberal arts that allows you to study more than one subject at university. So hopefully this number isn't too overwhelming and it's actually a nice number, although it's very large. When you apply to UK universities, you have 5 choices. So you are allowed to choose 5 subjects or 5 choices at different universities. So you can't, unfortunately, apply to all 35,000 courses. You only have to pick 5 of these choices. Most students will choose one subject and then choose up to 5 different universities which offer this subject. And I'll come on to that a bit later on, but this is ultimately because you only have one university application which gets sent off to the 5 universities that you've chosen. So it's very difficult to write an application for English literature at UEA, but also apply to maths at Leeds University, for example. So most students will pick one subject or a similar subject and then pick up to 5 universities which offer that. The only exception to this is if you were looking at something such as medicine or dentistry or veterinary science, you can have 4 choices for those, so you can apply to 4 medical schools, and then your 5th choice just has to be an alternative course such as biomedicine or biological sciences. So some of you might have already decided on your subject, and for those of you who might be still contemplating a couple, these are our kind of top tips for choosing the right subject for you. Firstly, make sure that you have chosen a course which you really enjoy and you are really interested in. You've got to get up and be self-motivated when you go to university, and no one's going to be forcing you to go to lectures or classes. So you've got to ensure that you are passionate about a subject and you do want to get up and study that subject for maybe 3 or 4 years, perhaps longer. That's our top kind of tip for choosing a course. Another thing to consider for those of you that have decided which subject you'd like to do, just have a look at the modules on that topic. So universities do not have the same curriculum. So history at one university might be really different to history at another university. So have a look on university websites and ensure that the topics that they teach aligns with your interests. So if you are really interested in modern history, ensuring that the universities you're looking at teach modern history, for example. Another consideration is to have a think about your career. Perhaps some of you might have a profession in mind, just making sure that perhaps your course is accredited. So if you're looking at something like psychology and you want a career as a psychologist, ensuring that your course is accredited and the degree enables you to go into that profession. And think about other opportunities as well. So are you a student that is looking at perhaps doing a year abroad or maybe a placement year? Think about which universities offer those opportunities for you. For me, I was looking at universities which had really good lab facilities as I studied biology. And I was also looking at universities which had good field trips. So I was really interested in ecology and conservation. So I was looking for universities that allowed me to go off and do work in the field as well. As I mentioned, have a look into university websites. Also have a look at league tables and loads of other websites such as UCAS and the Uni Guide, which give you really good statistics for different courses at different universities. Once you've decided your subject that you'd like to study, the next thing to do is obviously start building up your application. So I'm just going to outline what we are looking for as a university. So from UEA, what we're looking for in your application. Now you apply through a system called UCAS. Hopefully many of you have visited the UCAS website already. It's the University and Colleges Admission Service. So you apply through a centralised system, and that's where you have your 5 choices. So you don't apply directly to UEA or Newcastle or Sussex. You apply through a centralised UCAS system. For those of you that are looking at 2022 entry, you've got a couple of deadlines that you need to be made aware of. Now, they might seem quite far ahead, however, these will come around quite quickly. So if you are looking at applying for either Oxford or Cambridge, you can't apply for both. You are looking at applying for one of those universities, or you're looking at applying for medicine, dentistry, or veterinary science, your deadline is the 15th of October. And most other courses, so most other universities and other courses are looking at the 15th of January. So that'll be the 15th of January 2022 or next year. Now, as I said, you apply on the UCAS website. You'll apply if you are affiliated with a sixth form or college. Your application will be linked to your sixth form or college. So your sixth form or college will give you a buzzword to log in. They'll give you your login details. So most of this kind of application is done through your sixth form or college, if that's where you are. And I'm not going to go through all of the different sections as they are quite easy to fill in. And as I said, you'll probably go through this with your teachers and advisors. You can log in and out as many different times as you want. As soon as you register, you'll need to put in your personal details and any additional information. So perhaps you have a learning disability or something like that. That's where it goes in your application. You'll need to tick if you would like student finance. And here is where you choose your 5 choices. You don't have to choose 5, you can choose 1, 2, 3 or 4. But obviously to make the most out of your application, most students will choose up to 5 courses and institutions. You'll also need to put in all of your education and qualifications. So perhaps you've taken GCSEs or equivalent, perhaps your A-levels or BTECs or an access course, whatever you're studying at the moment. You'll need to put these all into your UCAS application. So my kind of top tip for this section is to fill in as much as you possibly can now before you break up for summer, because you don't want to finish your application and then think, oh, I haven't put any of my GCSE grades in, and you've forgotten what exam board you took or what grades you achieved. So make sure you fill in as much as you possibly can now. So as soon as you get your login, please fill in as much as possible. You can log in and out as many different times as you'd like. There's also a section there for any of you guys that are employed. So perhaps you've got a part-time job or you're employed at the moment. Make sure you fill that section in, as it tells the university that you are a really committed student and you also kind of have got lots of skills that align with what we're looking for from a university. There is something called a personal statement that is kind of the main part of your application, which I'll briefly discuss in a minute. And then your school or college will write your reference, and then you have to pay and submit your application, and then that gets pinged off to your different universities. It was £20 for one course last year and £26 for more than one course. Usually this amount doesn't change too much, but just to bear in mind it might change for 2022 entry. So what we're looking for, firstly, we want to know why you've chosen that course, and that's why it's really important to do as much research into your degree as possible. So do you know what it is to be like to become an adult nurse, for example? Do you know what a geography degree entails? So make sure you've really done your research on the course, and make sure you can think of a few reasons as to why you have selected that subject to apply for. As a university, we're looking for kind of evidence of this. So we're looking for your extra and super curriculum activities. So the things that you do outside of sixth form or college that demonstrate to us that you are a really engaged student and you're really enthusiastic about your subject. So have you done some wider reading? Have you done some volunteering? What kind of part-time jobs do you have? We want to see all of the skills that kind of showcase to us that you are a suitable candidate for that course. At UEA, we recommend that around 80% of your personal statement or your application is academic, and then around 20% is your hobbies and interests. So obviously, we are looking for well-rounded students, and we're looking for students that get involved in sports and music and lots of other things outside of your studies. If you've got a career plan, then great, pop that in. And if you have planning a gap year, so perhaps you're applying next year, but you're looking at going to university in 2023, then pop down what you're doing on your gap year. If you are applying for a course which is competitive, so perhaps you're applying for a course which has a limited capacity for places, perhaps you're looking at applying for a really top university, then we are really looking for your intellectual students. We're looking for students that are enthusiastic and committed. We obviously are looking for well-rounded people and students that will get involved with kind of all aspects of university life. So involved in societies, maybe get a part-time job at university, and really kind of make the most of being a student at our university. Firstly, we are looking at your grades, so whether they are your predicted grades, whether you've achieved those grades, and then we do look for things in your personal statement. So in your personal statement, we look for students that have got academic interests, so wider reading, students that have a wider understanding of both the course or perhaps the profession that you're looking at. We are looking for students that are really motivated, and we're looking for students that are really ambitious. So you might be sitting here thinking, okay, I know what subject I'd like to do, I know why I'd like to do that subject, but perhaps I don't have much experience to demonstrate to that university. Don't worry, you've got lots of time now to kind of build up your CV, kind of build up your application to the university that you're looking at. Just to give you a couple of examples of things that we perhaps look for, and some of these are kind of virtual examples as well, because we obviously know that you might not have the opportunity to go out and about and gain kind of physical work experience, or perhaps do things that students might have done a year or two ago. So these are really good examples for you guys to start kind of completing over the next few months. Just to say, if you would like a copy of this presentation, then you can email us, and my colleague Jess will pop the link in our chat. So if you did want to go back and have a look through some of these slides, then please do just drop us an email, or alternatively, this recording will likely be on our website after the webinar has finished. So just not going to run through all of these, but just to kind of highlight a couple. Perhaps you are looking at any subject, perhaps you're looking at science or humanities. There is a really good website which I'd highly recommend called FutureLearn, and FutureLearn run lots of free short courses by different universities. We'll pop the link in the chat for you in a sec. These vary, so some courses might be 2 weeks, some might be 8 weeks, but they're run by universities in the UK, but also across the world. So you'll get the kind of world leading academics running these short courses, and they have many different topics. They are completely free, so you don't have to pay anything to sign up to one of these short courses. They're called MOOCs, so massive open online courses, and there is hundreds of different topics on their FutureLearn website. So if you are struggling to think of how can you demonstrate kind of wider reading to your university, then have a look on FutureLearn and sign up to a few of those MOOCs. Obviously, I will highlight the taster sessions that we run at UEA. So we run lots of subject-specific webinars as well. Again, really fantastic experience for you guys to sit in and experience a taster lecture from a university academic, but also really highlights to the universities that you are engaged with, maybe topics that you don't learn about in your A-levels or your qualifications, and demonstrates to us that you do want to study that subject at university. Other things to highlight, obviously you can take part in some virtual work experience, sign up to some magazines such as Nature magazine or the Law Gazette, or perhaps maybe start preparing your portfolio or looking at some online museums if you're looking at the arts. There's loads of experience which you guys will have already completed, and many of you will have joined a sports team. I'm sure many of you will have done some volunteering, or perhaps done some fundraising, or perhaps done a project at 4th or 6th form. And these are all really great things. So don't exclude any of these experiences which you have already done, because you might be able to link the skills and strengths that you've gained from these experiences to the university course that you're looking at. So perhaps you have joined a sports team, perhaps that shows, dedication, it shows maybe teamwork if you're doing a team sport. And these are all the skills that you might need in kind of most areas really. But if you're looking at something like a healthcare course, then that really demonstrates that you are a dedicated person. Perhaps it shows that you're really motivated. It shows that you might have good leadership skills if you're maybe a captain of a sports team. And these are all really great skills and strengths that you guys will have got, to try and link it to the course which you have applied for, or the ones that you would like to apply for. That was a little bit of a whistle-stop tour of the application process. We are running a personal statement webinar, which I'll highlight at the end of today's talk, but that will go into a lot more detail about personal statement, but hopefully that's given you a good idea of the types of things that we are looking for in your application. Once you've submitted your application, which obviously won't be for a little while, then you'll get a few answers from universities. So universities will hopefully reply to you quite quickly, depending on when you submit it. Applications usually open around September, and then obviously, as I said, the 15th of January is the deadline for most courses. Universities will either give you an offer, and this offer will say, yeah, we'd love to have you on our course, providing that you meet grades. it might be a conditional offer, might say, great, we'd love you, providing that you get perhaps 3 Bs in your A-levels. Or it might be an unconditional offer. This might be that you've already taken your qualifications. Some universities will say, yeah, we really liked your application, we're going to offer you an interview. This might be for universities such as Oxford or Cambridge that interview most courses, or it might be that some universities interview for particular courses. So at UEA, as an example, we interview for our healthcare and medicine students, and we also have auditions for drama. So it might be a particular course at particular universities which interview. Or hopefully, you might get one of these responses, hopefully you won't. Universities might say, sorry, we're going to reject you, but hopefully that will not happen. If you are looking at a course which interviews or looking at a university which interviews, obviously you might get different types of interviews. You might get a panel, you might have an audition if you're looking at drama or something like that. You might have to do a written assignment. Just to say, there's lots of advice out there. Obviously, research the course, research the university, read around the subject, and lots of universities run kind of mock interviews and stuff. We tend to run webinars on them, or we have done in the past. So again, look out for advice online and look on the websites of the universities that you are applying for. Once you've submitted your application, you might get an offer to attend what's called an applicant day or an offer holder day. And this is essentially your opportunity to narrow down your 5 choices to your top 2 choices. So it gives you the opportunity to chat to students, maybe visit the university, attend some subject-specific talks, and kind of find out a little bit more about the course that you have applied for. And then going all the way to kind of this time next year, you'll have to decide your firm and your insurance choice university. So out of the 5 choices that you will apply for, you have to choose 2, so your top choice and a second choice, which is your insurance choice. If you don't get any offers back from the 5 universities or the up to 5 universities that you've chosen, there is an opportunity to apply for extra courses through a website called UCAS Extra, and that allows you to apply for 1 extra choice at a time, depending on how many extra choices you need. Hopefully only 1, but hopefully you've done your research, so you've met the entry requirements, you've done a really good application, so that won't happen to any of you guys. And then obviously fast forward to maybe the end of your time at sixth form or college. On results day, there's kind of 4 options that will happen. You will meet the grades and you'll go on to your first choice university. Perhaps you'll miss the grades, then you'll go on to your second choice university, which often is a little bit kind of lower in terms of entry requirements. Alternatively, you might exceed your entry requirements for both and have a look at other options, or you might miss both. Hopefully that won't be the case. So there's loads of things that you can do now to do your research, and obviously, as I said, you can have a copy of these slides. You can go away and have a look at some of these websites, which we would really recommend. Having a look at league tables gives you an idea of which universities might be best for the courses which you're looking at. Obviously, speaking to your teachers, speaking to your advisors, speaking to careers advisors at sixth form or college. Having a look on university websites and delving really deeply into the particular course that you're looking at. So do you know the types of things that university teaches, or do you know how your course is taught? As I mentioned, we are running a personal statement specific webinar, and that will be on the 15th of June. So in this webinar, we'll outline a lot more into the types of things that we're looking for in your personal statement, which is one aspect of your UCAS application. So we'll give you some examples of good personal statements, bad personal statements, and really give you the kind of tools you need to make a start on your university application. If you want to find out a little bit more about UEA, I'd really recommend obviously going to open days, going to campus tours. We're running lots of campus tours over the next few months where you can come to our beautiful campus, explore it with a student ambassador and chat to a current student, have a look around all of the kind of outside of buildings and kind of around all of our campus. So you can obviously see outside the library, you can see the teaching facilities, you can obviously get your bearings. It will all be outside obviously at the moment, but so everything will kind of be in line with government advice. So that might change in the next couple of months, but at the moment they are all outside. And we are also running open days too. So our next open day is the 26th of June, and that will be Medicine Open Day. And then our July open day will be virtual. So that will be kind of virtual, but we'll also be running lots of campus tours and kind of campus activities on that date too. And then hopefully by autumn, our autumn open days might be kind of more larger scale in terms of more physical presence. So there might be more things happening on campus. But if you did want to sign up to campus tours or explore our university a little bit further, then head to the Open Days webpage and we'll pop the link in the chat and you can sign up through there. Okay, and so that is the webinar kind of completed. But just to say that we obviously are here to support you. We know that maybe applying to university, the whole application process might be a little bit confusing. You might be a little bit uncertain. For students that are starting with us this September, we have put loads of things in place to really make them feel more confident in their learning. And we're putting on some kind of free online courses before they start. We're putting on, we're restructuring kind of first year modules to allow them to feel confident in their learning. So just to kind of say, just to hopefully reassure you that if you are a little bit concerned that you've missed learning or you're worried about applying to university or starting university, that we are here to support you. So please do get in contact with us if you have got any concerns or any questions at all. Lots of our, just pop the link in the chat. We've got loads of students that are on our Ask Us platform. So you might have been on UniBuddy before. The web link is just the one on the screen at the moment. But if you did have any questions for any of our students, then obviously you can chat to them on there. Ask them about their course, ask them about student life, ask them about applying to university, whatever you'd like, and hopefully they'll be able to answer for you. Okay, so I'll just quickly check the chat. If anyone has got any questions, feel free to pop them in and we'll hang around for the next few minutes and answer those. So yeah, I'll just give it a minute or so. Okay, I don't think we have any. Obviously, feel free to type them if you did have any questions. But if you didn't, then thank you so much for attending. And obviously, if you'd like a copy of the presentation, as we said, obviously email us if you have got any other questions. But I hope you have a lovely rest of the afternoon and evening, and best of luck with your application to university.